Hello students, welcome back to the third part of the that is beta decay. So that is in this session we will be learning about the characteristics of beta spectrum, that is the beta decay, and we will be learning about what you mean by Pauli neutrino hypothesis. Now, we all know that in our previous videos we have learnt about the disintegration energy of beta decay. So, in all the three types of beta decays, that is beta minus decay, beta plus decay, and electron capture process, okay, we have seen that the mass difference between the parent nucleus and the mass of the daughter nucleus. So this difference in the mass we will be getting converted as the kinetic energy of the beta particles. So if we consider the beta minus decay, that is electron emission, the equation for beta minus decay can be written as follows, that is X is the parent nucleus, Z is its atomic number, and A is its mass number. When this undergoes beta minus decay, so there is a formation of a daughter element which is having atomic number increased by 1, mass number remains the same, and along with the emission of the electron. Now see, according to our assumption, what should happen is, let us consider a parent nucleus which is having atomic number Z and mass number A. This is your parent nucleus. When this undergoes beta minus decay, what happens? There is an emission of the electron. Okay, let us consider, that is, this is beta minus particle, that is nothing but the electron is emitted in like this. And what happens to the nuclei means there is a formation of a daughter nucleus with an increase in its atomic number, mass number keeping the same, right? So now actually what happens in this case, the parent nucleus or the daughter nucleus that is formed is having a little bit heavier mass. So therefore the recoil velocity of the daughter nucleus will be less when compared to the energy of this beta particle that is being emitted. So therefore this daughter nucleus do not carry any energy practically, or practically we say that these daughter nucleus are having heavier mass, so therefore their recoil velocity is very less, such that they do not carry any energy, or they do not carry any kinetic energy. So the entire energy will be in the form of kinetic energy, that is the decay energy or disintegration energy will be completely in the form of kinetic energy. But here we can see that, so practically we have seen that the daughter nucleus will not carry any energy, that is, since the recoil velocity is very less, so therefore it do not carry any kinetic energy. So therefore all the energy must be carried by the beta particle. But in the case of measurements, we can see that the electron are emitted with a spectrum of kinetic energy, and the spectrum shows a continuous distribution of energy, and that will be characterized by a maximum kinetic energy, that is what we call it as an end point energy. Let me explain once again with the help of a graph. See students, if I plot a graph by taking the kinetic energy of the beta particles that is being emitted, okay, to the number of beta particles emitted. Here we can see that there is a continuous distribution of energy. So that graph will be shown in this form. Okay, here we can see that the kinetic energy of the beta particle is maximum. So kinetic energy is maximum. So this energy, that is a maximum kinetic energy that is being carried by the beta particle during the disintegration of a radioactive nucleus. So this is what we call it as an end point energy. So I'm going to repeat once again. So whatever the energy that is being obtained, that is the Q value of the beta decay, is nothing but the mass difference between the parent nucleus and the daughter nucleus. This will be completely, the difference between these two will be appearing as the kinetic energy or disintegration energy, which is in the form of kinetic energy of the emitted beta particle. Here we are considering beta minus decay. Okay, for a simple case, here we have a parent nucleus which is having atomic number Z and mass number A. After the emission of beta particle, so this daughter nucleus will recoil, right? So since the mass of this daughter nucleus is little bit heavy, so therefore, so the recoil velocity will be less. So therefore, practically this daughter nucleus will not carry any sort of energy. Okay, so actually, practically speaking, the electron will carry all the disintegration energy in the form of kinetic energy. So therefore, if I plot, okay, practically measured energies of the beta decay, okay, so by taking kinetic energy on the x-axis and maximum, that is the number of particles emitted, okay, on the y-axis, here we will obtain a continuous spectra. So with this, at this, the end point energy is what is nothing but the maximum energy that is being carried by the beta particle is known as the end point energy. Okay, so now we have to understand from this graph why there is emission of a continuous spectra. Okay, so that we are going to study as the characteristics of the beta spectrum. So this is our basic level. So here we have obtained practically obtained values. We have plotted along the x-axis and the number of beta particles obtained. So this we have plotted a graph and we have to compare with our theory. So this is what we called as the characteristics of the beta spectrum. But actually, if you look into the spectra of X-rays and gamma rays, or for even alpha rays, okay, alpha decay, so the spectrum is a line spectrum. Okay, so there will be line spectrum. Don't confuse this spectrum with your optical spectrum. Okay, so this is nothing but the plot of energy with respect to the number of alpha particles. Okay, so this spectrum is little bit different from your optical spectrum. Okay, so we call both as spectrum itself, but still lines, that is a spectrum, that is what we are studying here is little bit different the spectrum that we are studying in optics. Okay, so don't get confused. Okay, X-rays, gamma rays and alpha rays, if you observe the spectra or characteristics of spectra of these radiation, so it will be a line spectrum. So that is, it is discrete energies, it will be having discrete energies. Okay, but here beta spectrum is continuous, so we have to remember this point. Okay, so they might ask for 2 marks questions. Okay, so beta spectrum is continuous. How we will come to know that it is continuous? So from the above graph, you can see that there is a distribution of energy for the emitted beta particles in the form of kinetic energy is from 0 to some maximum value. So continuously the energy is being distributed for the beta particles, right? So therefore, by seeing this graph or by plotting these practically obtained values, we can say that the beta spectrum is continuous. If you consider the beta minus decay, so what happens during beta minus decay, or where does this beta minus decay appear? Means, so in there is any radioactive nucleus which is having excess number of neutrons. Okay, when this radioactive nucleus which is having excess number of neutrons, so this neutron gets converted into a proton and an electron, right? So this is the process that is taking place in the beta minus decay. Okay, so during this beta minus decay, that is when the neutron changes to a proton inside the nucleus and producing the beta minus decay. Okay, so all the emitted nucleus, that is the electrons or the beta minus particles which are coming out, must be having the same kinetic energy. Remember students, whenever this beta minus decay takes place, the neutron gets converted into a proton and an electron is emitted, that is beta minus particle is been emitted. So what happens, all the beta particles must be emitted from the nucleus with the same kinetic energy. How many number of beta particles that you are emitting, or how many number of beta particles that the radioactive nucleus is emitting, all those beta particles should have a same kinetic energy according to the theoretical prediction. But practically we can see that there is continuous distribution of energy from 0 to certain end point energy, that is the maximum energy. So what happens, so this we can see that is this this process or this situation says that that is the law of conservation of energy is being violated here. Okay, why? Because according to theoretical prediction, what should we get? All the beta particles that are emitted should have the same kinetic energy. Okay, but here what is happening practically, there is an emission of the beta particle from a certain range of values, that is from 0 to some certain maximum energy. So therefore the energy distribution is continuous among the number of beta particles emitted. So therefore there is a continuous spectrum that is obtained. So here there is a mismatch between the theoretical value and the practically obtained value. So therefore there is what is violating here. So it seems that the law of conservation of energy is violated. So law of conservation of energy is being violated in the case of beta minus decay, or in general the beta decay. So remember students, if you are seeing that, or in nature generally if any reaction or any phenomena is going on, means there must be some law of there is conservation laws should be satisfied. For example, it may be law of conservation of mass, law of conservation of charge, law of conservation of energy, law of conservation of linear momentum, law of conservation of angular momentum. So there are certain conservation laws with respect to the context. There will be some conservation laws to be satisfied. If any one law of conservation is not satisfied, means then that particular reaction or that particular process won't occur in the universe. If something is happening, or if some process is taking place in the nature, means it should be understood that there are certain laws of conservation of mass, energy, charge, anything it may be. There are certain conservation laws getting satisfied, and then only we are able to get that particular process to exist inside the nature. Okay, but why we are questioning here, that is the law, why we are stating here that why the law of conservation of energy is being violated, why we are saying, because so actually theoretically what we are expecting is whenever beta minus decay takes place, the kinetic energy of all the beta particles, irrespective of the number of particles that are emitted, must have the same kinetic energy. But here in the graph or practically obtained values, we can see that the value of the beta minus decay, that is the kinetic energy of this beta particle what you are getting, is having a range of values starting from 0 to certain maximum energy. So there is a mismatch between the theoretical concept and the practically obtained values. So therefore we say that it seems that there is law of conservation of energy is been not getting satisfied. So therefore we are stating that the law of conservation of energy is been violated at this particular point. See, now let us look into the next conservation laws. That is, let us look into the law of angular momentum. That is, the angular momentum of the reactants must be equal to the angular momentum or total angular momentum of the product. So this must be satisfied, then only we say that the angular momentum of this particular reaction is conserved. So now let us look into the reactant part. So what is the reactant part here? There is neutron in the beta minus decay I am considering. Okay, so in general all these particular laws of conservation of energy, angular momentum is violated simultaneously in case of beta plus and electron capture decay also. Okay, so just we are taking beta minus as an example, that's all. So in beta plus and electron capture method also, all these laws of conservation are been violated. Okay, what are we are mentioning here? Okay, remember that. So in case of the reactant, in case of the beta minus decay, is your neutron. So what is the angular momentum of the neutron? It is half integral multiples of h bar. Okay, now this is on the left hand side. So if you look into the right hand side, new proton also has a angular momentum of half integral multiples of h bar, and electron also has half integral multiples of h. So the initial angular momentum is h bar by 2. Here after the reaction, that is beta minus dk, what is the total angular momentum on the right hand side, means it is h bar. So here also we can see that angular momentum, that is law of conservation of angular momentum is violated. Okay, so here you can see the calculation part. So I have shown here, there is the initial angular momentum is h bar by 2, but the final angular momentum is h bar. So from this we can say that the angular momentum in case of beta decay is been completely violated. So next conservation law that we need to look into is, there is linear momentum. Okay, so now see, if you consider the linear momentum in case of beta minus decay, see, in case of beta minus decay, here we have the parent nucleus, right? So I'll just write it as Pn, or we'll just write the full name. There is parent nucleus, which is having atomic number Z and mass number A. So when this undergoes beta minus decay, so you will be getting one, there is a daughter nucleus, which is having an atomic number Z plus 1 and mass number remains the same. And here we have the emission of electron, that is nothing but beta minus particle, right? So now this parent nucleus will be having certain linear momentum before undergoing beta minus decay. So the linear momentum of this parent nucleus before minus decay, beta, that is beta minus decay, must be equal to the linear momentum or sum of the linear momentum of this daughter nucleus and the electron after the beta minus decay. But here what is happening, let us see, and we have discussed this point earlier also. So when this parent nucleus disintegrates by beta minus decay, so since this daughter nucleus is having heavy mass, so therefore, so the velocity is less, such that practically the velocity or recoil velocity is almost zero, right? Remember students, the recoil velocity is almost zero, and maximum velocity, okay, that is the disintegration energy, is being carried only by this beta minus particle. So therefore what happens? So therefore there is a violation of the beta minus, there is a violation of linear momentum in case of minus beta decay. How? Actually what should happen? So when this is having a certain linear momentum, so this daughter nuclei which is formed should recoil in the opposite direction. Okay, so but practically what is happening, this is not moving with, or this daughter nucleus is not recoiling with any certain velocity. So therefore the law of conservation of linear momentum is also violated in case of beta minus decay. Clear students? I'll repeat once again. So this will be having certain linear momentum before the beta minus decay. After beta minus decay, what should happen? This daughter nucleus must recoil in opposite direction to that of the beta particle. Okay, it must recoil with certain recoil velocity. But here practically what is happening, this daughter nucleus is not getting recoiled in the opposite direction at all. That is, practically it is at rest with zero recoil velocity. So therefore, if you calculate the linear momentum before the reaction and after the reaction, so the linear momentum value will not be equal. So we can say that there is a violation of linear momentum in case of beta decay. Okay. Now a question may arise. We have shown that is law of energy, that is law of conservation of energy is violated, law of conservation of angular momentum is violated, and law of conservation of linear momentum is violated. What about the charge and mass? Is it conserved or not conserved? Let us have a look into it. See, let us look into the law of conservation of energy in case of beta minus decay itself as an example. See, in the previous video while we are dealing with beta minus decay, beta plus decay, electron capture. So there only we have discussed that there is what is that, conservation of charge, right? See, what is the charge of the neutron? This is 0. So there is the charge before the decay, it is 0. So after the decay, so 1, this is plus 1 minus 1. So what happens to the charge? It is 0. Right, now look into the mass part. Okay, so here what happens? The mass is 1 unit. Let us consider. And here 1. Here it is 0. So therefore if you add, you will get the initial one. So therefore the law of conservation of charge, law of conservation of mass is already conserved. Right, so there is law of conservation of charge and law of conservation of mass is already, while it is not violated, it is conserved, right? Conserved. But here we are seeing that law of conservation of energy is not satisfied, law of conservation of angular momentum is not satisfied, that is, it is violated, and the law of conservation of linear momentum is violated. But still we can see that there is beta minus decay taking place. That means we have missed out something which is violating these particular points, that is energy, linear momentum or angular momentum. So the reaction is taking place. It means that there is something conserved, that is linear momentum, energy and angular momentum. So everything is conserved, then only this reaction will take place, definitely. So if charge and mass is conserved and this reaction is taking place, means then linear momentum, angular momentum and energy also must be conserved, then only this reaction will take place. Listen carefully, students. Here we have shown that in the previous videos, or now we have seen that there is law of conservation of charge and mass is being satisfied in this reaction. But here we are saying from the theoretical assumption and experimentally obtained values, here we are seeing that the law of conservation of energy, law of conservation of angular momentum and law of conservation of linear momentum is getting violated. We are stating this. But I am saying that the reaction is taking place with the conservation of charge and mass. Then if the reaction is taking place, means then there is law of conservation of energy is also satisfied, and law of conservation of angular momentum is also satisfied, and law of conservation of linear momentum must be satisfied. Then theoretically we are missing something, right? So that is nothing but the hypothesis that is given by Pauli's. Yes, definitely, students, there is all the conservation laws that are being violated, that are being stated that it has been violated. So all these, the remaining energy, remaining angular momentum and remaining linear momentum must be carried by another particle. So that was proposed by Pauli's as neutrino hypothesis. Okay, so it is also called as Pauli's neutrino hypothesis. So according to Pauli's, he states that during beta decay, it may be beta plus, it may be beta minus or electron capture, anything it may be. So during beta minus decay, a new particle is simultaneously emitted, okay, so with that of the beta particle, and he called this new particle as neutrino, which is represented by nu. Okay, so this is called as an elementary particle, which we will be dealing in the next unit. Okay, there is elementary particles. So this new particle, which is emitted along with the beta decay or with the beta particle, is known as the neutrino. Okay, which is carrying the remaining energy, which is carrying the remaining angular momentum, and which is carrying the remaining angular momentum. So this particle is what we call it as a neutrino. So what is the energy of the neutrino now? So the energy of the neutrino is nothing but the maximum energy that is being emitted during beta decay minus the energy that is being carried by the beta particle. We said there is law of conservation of energy is being violated, right? So where is that remaining energy carried? That remaining energy will be appearing as the kinetic energy of the neutrino particle. Okay, see, we have seen that there is, I said here itself in this point, so the law of conservation of angular momentum is violated, linear momentum is violated, energy is violated, but charge was conserved by this equation and mass was conserved, right? So therefore we can say that neutrino has no charge. Why? Because already in this equation the law of conservation of charge is been satisfied, so therefore it has zero charge. And if you look at the mass of the parent nucleus and the daughter nucleus, we can see that neutrino is massless, that is, it does not carry any charge. Hope you remember this equation. There is the angular momentum conservation. See here we are seeing that neutron is having the total angular momentum due to orbital motion and spin motion is h bar by 2, and for proton it is h bar by 2, and electron it is h bar by 2. Why? Because they obey the Fermi-Dirac distribution. Now here we have h bar after the decay, so therefore the initial angular momentum was h bar by 2, so definitely the neutrino particle must be having angular momentum, that is the total angular momentum due to spin and orbital motion, which is equal to h bar by 2. Then only if you subtract this, okay, you'll get the initial angular momentum. So negative sign indicates that obviously in the the angular momentum will be, or there is a recoil in the opposite direction. That's it. There is no that more importance for it. Okay, so it will be there is, if you subtract this h bar by 2 from h bar, definitely you will get h bar by 2, right? So therefore the neutrino particle will be having an angular momentum of h bar by 2. So therefore neutrino has a spin angular momentum of h bar by 2, and they also obey Fermi-Dirac statistics. Okay, now let us look into the law of conservation of energy. So for this we need to recall the graph, that is, which was plotted earlier, that is taking the kinetic energy along the x-axis and the number of beta particles emitted along the y-axis. So we had obtained a graph like this, right, approximately, right? Okay, so this is what we called as a maximum kinetic energy of the beta particle, which was called as an end point energy. See, from this graph we can see that at the zero end, okay, so at this point, so all the energy, that is, we have the kinetic energy of the beta particles, that is maximum number of beta particles that are being emitted, are having a very little energy, that is very small energy, right? So there is a value of kinetic energy is very small. It means that the remaining energy must be carried by the neutrino itself. Understood, students? So let me repeat once again. See, here we have plotted a graph by taking the kinetic energy of the beta particle that is emitted during beta minus decay, beta plus decay, or electron capture, let us consider. Okay, so and on the y-axis we have plotted the number of beta particles that are being emitted. Okay, if you see that for a very small kinetic energy we have maximum number of beta particles. So at this particular point kinetic energy of beta particle is less, but we have certain energy of the disintegration energy of the beta decay, right? Beta plus beta minus electron capture. So if the kinetic energy of the beta particle is less, it means that the remaining energy or the maximum energy is being carried by the electron. But at this particular point, if you look into it, we can see that what happens, the beta particle is having maximum energy. Then at this particular point the energy of the neutrino will be very less. So therefore, so by this we can confirm that the law of conservation of energy is being satisfied by the Pauli's Pauli's neutrino hypothesis. There is a neutrino is carrying the remaining energy. Okay, in between these 2 points, so the energy is that is total energy is being shared by the beta particle and the neutrino. Okay, and this explains why there is a continuous continuous spectra of the beta decay. And in our previous videos we have also studied that if it is beta minus decay means there is emission of electron, right? And beta plus means, so in the beta minus decay we have seen that there is emission of electron, and during beta plus decay we have seen that there is an emission of the positron, and we call that these two are complementary. Why? Because there is beta emission, beta minus decay will be followed by definitely beta plus decay. These are complementary, right? So here we can see that there is an emission of electron during beta minus decay, and during beta plus decay there is a positron. We say that this has a particle and this has an anti-particle, right? So that is, these two are, this is particle means there will be definitely an anti-particle. So similarly, during beta plus decay there is emission of a particle, that is what we call it as a neutrino. That is, during beta plus decay the particle that is emitted along with this positron will be neutrino, and during beta minus decay, so there is an anti-particle of neutrino, that is what we call, there is anti-particle of neutrino emitted along with this electron. So during beta plus decay neutrino will be emitted along with this positron, and beta minus decay, or during beta minus decay along with this electron, anti-neutrino, that is anti-particle of neutrino will be emitted. Okay, now let us write these particular beta minus decay, beta plus decay and electron capture in the form of equation that is given by Fermi. So according to Fermi, the equations of beta plus decay, beta minus decay and electron capture can be written as follows. That is, so during beta minus decay, okay, so the neutron will get converted into a proton and an electron. So this is what we call it as beta minus. So here anti-neutrino, so it is written as nu bar, okay, anti-neutrino will be emitted, and during beta plus decay, okay, so the proton will get converted into a neutron and a positron, right? So therefore, which is called as beta plus decay, here neutrino will be emitted. Okay, so during electron capture, EC means electron capture, proton in the nucleus will absorb the K shell electron and gets converted into neutron, and here by the conservation laws neutrino will be emitted again. Okay, so they might ask during 2 marks concept questions, that is what will be emitted in case of beta minus decay, so whether it is neutrino, anti-neutrino, like that. So by this you have to remember like this. See, here we have electron, antiparticle is positron. So for this positron, that is for antiparticle, particle will be emitted, and for this particle, antiparticle will be emitted. Do you remember like this? So then definitely it will be helpful for you. So this completes your beta decay. So I'll be meeting you in the next video. Thank you.